Toxic employees. It's a little bit of a negative topic, but when we've dug into our massive troves of data, we found that 3 to 5% of employees are terminated for sexual harassment, drug and alcohol abuse, misconduct, fraud, falsification of documents, failed background checks, things of that nature. We've got a few interesting things about these people. First, when we ask them at the point of application about certain behavioral characteristics, like, for example, their likeliness to follow rules, what we found is that these people tend not to be incredibly forthright about how much they are rule followers. So if you ask someone, hey, do you follow the rules? Shockingly, toxic employees tend to lie about that. So, we've learned a little bit, and I'll talk a little later about honesty and things like that in the workplace. But instead, we found that there are constructs that are better measures and predictors of if someone's going to be asked to leave for one of these reasons. Things like service orientation, whether they're very much inclined to make clients and customers happy, and attendance and dependability. These people tend not to be very reliable. And so you can get at constructs like this in the assessment at the point of application, and ideally try to ensure that they don't join the workforce. Unfortunately, what we found is that toxic employees not only pose a serious risk to the organization, but they hurt everyone around them. So we found that when they are on a team, that everyone on that team, their performance tends to suffer, and people are 10 times more likely to leave the company because that person is on the team. Again, no surprise, but in terms of magnitudes, we found in our assessment when we can achieve 20 to 30% increases in tenure, that's a huge win. We throw off the mission accomplished banner. In this case, we're talking about 1,000%. So this is huge, and these are things that we need to think about as we're doing hiring, looking out for people that show those red flags and ensuring that they don't join the workforce. So weather, this isn't quite macroeconomic, but these are things beyond our control that are kind of outside in our environment. Weather can have a positive or negative impact on performance. So first, this is not surprising, but inclement weather tends to produce worse schedule adherence and absenteeism. Shockingly, when the weather gets worse, snow, rain, whatever the case may be, people tend not to show up to work, and they tend not to stay the amount of time that they're supposed to. But what's interesting is that when we look at something like productivity, so how productive people are in these roles, we find that productivity actually drops when there's snow, rain, lightning. Customer satisfaction is better in colder temperatures. So we found in areas that tend to be colder, have a sort of a colder temperature, we found higher customer satisfaction levels. And with the flip side of that is sales conversion tends to be better in warmer temperatures. So this ad, you can ask the question, what do we do with this? And I actually had someone on a call said, well, obviously, if I have a bunch of sales reps, I'm going to crank up the temperature in the office. I'm going to turn off the AC, and I'm just going to let them fly. And that's not the answer, but if you are thinking about where to locate a site, you might want to consider weather as one factor. Customer satisfaction is better when it's cold. Sales conversion is better when it's warm. Again, drawing on hundreds of millions of performance records to generate these insights. What's an interesting one that we recently did and we released is talking about someone's browser. So this is one of those latent signs where when someone logs into the platform, they leave a signature, and that signature captures their browser they use to access the platform. We thought this was interesting data. We don't use it in the assessment to score someone. We said, well, what if we look at browser usage? And what we found is that users of Chrome and Firefox stay on the job longer and perform better than users of Internet Explorer or Safari. This is about the point when everyone looks at their computer and realizes what they use and either loves or hates me. But what's interesting is that this doesn't mean that you should go to your job site and say, everybody, install Chrome on your computer. This is going to change your lives. What this is someone who's taken the time to install Chrome, a non-default browser, has shown that they've weighed out the alternatives. They're somewhat informed consumer, and they recognize that there's a browser out there that makes them more productive. And so that action in and of itself tells us something about the job applicant. And again, we don't use this, I want to be clear, we're not using this in our application to score applicants, but it's interesting insight that potentially our clients or folks we work with could use.